Emily arrived at Ravenswood Manor late one October evening, drawn by the promise of an inheritance left by a distant relative she had never met. The towering mansion stood against the backdrop of an overcast sky, its shadow stretching ominously across the overgrown gardens. Her first steps inside revealed a house that time seemed to have forgotten. Dust blanketed every surface, and cobwebs hung like lace from the corners. The air was cold, unnaturally so, and carried a faint metallic tang. Among the items left for her was a letter sealed in wax. It read, "The manor holds secrets darker than the night. The shadows whisper truths you are not prepared to hear. Leave before midnight, or you may never leave at all." Emily chuckled nervously, dismissing the letter as the ramblings of a superstitious mind. But as she explored the mansion, a chill began creeping into her bones, one that no fire or thick coat could dispel. In the grand hall, portraits of the manor's previous owners hung on the walls. Their eyes, though painted, seemed to follow her every move. As the clock struck 10, Emily noticed something peculiar. Shadows stretched and moved, independent of their sources. She tried to rationalize it as a trick of the light, but the feeling of being watched grew unbearable. She decided to retreat to her room for the night. Locking the door, she told herself she would leave first thing in the morning. But as she lay in bed, the whispering began. At first, it was faint, like a breeze passing through the cracks of the old house. Then it grew louder, forming words that were both chilling and incomprehensible. "Emily, leave, now." Her heart pounded in her chest as she sat up. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. Silence followed. A sudden knock on her door shattered the stillness. She froze, staring at the handle, which began to twist slowly. Gathering her courage, she approached the door, yanked it open, and found nothing but an empty hallway. The whispering grew louder, now seeming to come from everywhere at once. Shadows began gathering in the corners, forming shapes that twisted and writhed. Panic overtook her as she bolted from the room, her bare feet slapping against the cold wooden floors. She descended the staircase, but halfway down, she froze. At the bottom stood a figure cloaked in darkness, its form indistinct yet menacing. It raised a hand, pointing directly at her. "You shouldn't be here," it said in a voice that echoed in her mind. Emily turned and ran back upstairs, her breaths ragged. She stumbled into the library, slamming the door behind her. Books lined the walls from floor to ceiling, and the only light came from a flickering chandelier above. Desperately, she searched for something, anything that could help her. Her eyes landed on a journal lying open on the desk. The handwriting was hurried and chaotic, detailing the horrors of Ravenswood Manor.